We can now go across to our correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky standing by in Jerusalem. Noga, good afternoon. Where are the negotiations right now?
Well, we have some details that we believe come from the negotiations, at least transmitted by a Hamas grandee, Taher al-Nunu, to Qatari media about, Hamas's request. Forgive me. And we also have the absolute latest I can share with you, Delano, which is there seems to be a big push underway to get Donald Trump himself personally to come to this region. So in the last hour, Egyptian President El-Sisi has openly invited Donald Trump, saying that his input would be necessary perhaps to close the deal, that he hopes to see President Trump himself get to the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh for the signing of this deal, making it sound as if this were really imminent. Now, with the arrival of envoy Steve Witkoff and the presidential son-in-law Jared Kushner, as you said, the Israeli interlocutor Ron Dermer, who is the right-hand man for Netanyahu, also has arrived, as has the Qatari Prime Minister and the Turkish head of intelligence. All of this coming together does seem to show significant White House muscle coming to just get a deal done. And we're hearing here in Jerusalem that Israel understands that the United States, through President Donald Trump, just wants this deal signed. And is willing to push very, very hard to get that. In addition, on the Israeli side, curiously, for Prime Minister Netanyahu, the public facet of his friendship with Donald Trump is very important. And we know that last month he hoped to get a visit from Donald Trump, who has not yet visited Israel during this term in office. When Donald Trump, in fact, visited the UK and was hosted by King Charles, Netanyahu's office began leaking that Trump might make a surprise jump across from Europe and visit in Israel at the time. Clearly, this didn't happen, but now again, we are hearing that if Donald Trump in fact does come to the region to sign this deal, that he would come to Israel apparently to bask in what he understands is his huge popularity right now among Israelis. This impression that he has is in part because of the very powerful now and influential Israeli protest movement, a movement against Netanyahu and against the war that has seen Donald Trump as their champion in their hopes to just get this war over and done with.
Yeah, you see any placard during the protests and they're calling on Donald Trump to exert his influence over Netanyahu. Now, I want to talk about the potential of prisoner releases, because Hamas has reportedly handed over its list of detainees it wants out as part of any deal. Now, one of the names doing the rounds is Marwan Barghouti, a member of Fatah who Israel arrested back in 2002. Would Israel be willing to entertain his release?
It's a very good question, and his name obviously he's, if I can say this, among the top Palestinian prisoners who are known to the public, Marwan Barghouti's name is the top-ranking one. He is not a member of Hamas. In fact, he detested Hamas when he was an active member of Fatah, the rival movement and the movement that rules the Palestinian Authority from Ramallah. It is unclear here what's going on. It could be Hamas spin, telling the public that they have asked for Marwan Barghouti. It could be that they believe he will be beholden to them. If Israel does release him at Hamas's request, that they will be able to say, look, we did more for you than your own movement ever did. It could be that so many years later, Israel perceives him as less of a threat than it perceived him at the time. There are many, many possibilities here. Another interesting detail that has come through and that is more current, is that apparently Hamas has requested to receive the bodies of Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader who was killed almost a year ago by Israel in Gaza, and then his brother, who was killed in May, about 6 months later, his brother Muhammad, who took over from him in part of his capacity as a commander in Gaza. All of these seem to be at least part of the public spin about what is being discussed behind the scenes, and it may or may not be the case. Nobody that I know of has access to the actual documents under discussion.
Noga, very briefly, yesterday we saw Israel pay homage to the lives lost during the October 7th attacks, and of course the hostages that still remain in Gaza. Yet the government was absent from these commemorations. What did ordinary citizens make of this?
Ordinary citizens were extremely distressed by this, and I can share with you a headline in today's Haaretz newspaper in Israel was that the government was as absent in the second year ceremonies yesterday as it was on the very day of the catastrophe itself, when Israel's borders seemed to melt away in the face of the Hamas assault. I will circle back to your first question here, Delano. I believe that one of the reasons that Netanyahu, who apparently thinks he will be compelled to sign this ceasefire deal, one of the ways he's trying to turn it to his advantage is to get this visit from Donald Trump and to try and show this vast Israeli public who have criticized him from here to kingdom come, to show them I signed the deal and I brought Donald Trump to Israel for this victorious moment. That may be the picture of victory that Netanyahu is now aiming.
We'll see what happens. Thank you very much, Noga. We'll see what happens in the hours to come, and hopefully that deal can in fact be clinched. Noga Tarnopolsky reporting there for us from Jerusalem.